Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome back to Gold Rush the game. That's right, Gold Rush the game available now for PC, coming very soon to Xbox One and PS4 next year in 2018. I'm going to show you how to set up the Tier 2 mining equipment, and we're going to get started with our mobile wash plant behind us and a small excavator. So if you'd like to see more of this content, make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button too so you don't miss out. This is part 2 of our Tier 1 work. We're now stepping it up to Tier 2. So we've worked through all the Tier 1 stuff in order to get enough cash to buy some of the things here. So make sure you go back and watch that part to know how to get started in the game. And we're now doing some Tier 2 stuff. Just so you know, I've got a little extra money than I need as we kind of were fishing some things out with a loan. And now we've got a little extra cash just in case we need it. So to get started here, you're probably going to need about, I don't know, maybe $45,000 plus in the game a little bit. Just so that you can get started with Tier 2, you'll have to buy all the equipment in the back. That big blue table there, that is not an air hockey table. We are not out here to play games. We're out here to work, and that is a wave table. I know, I got the truck fully loaded with all sorts of stuff. It's all hanging over. I look like the Hollywood Hillbillies driving out here. So we're going over to our mining site at the dried riverbed, and that's like a lake and a river that have dried up, and we're now going to be doing some mining in it. And this game has a lot of things coming too. There's a dump truck, there's a drilling machine, there's a lot of Tier 3 mining equipment, different types of sluices and shakers that are coming our way as well. So the game is fully released now, but has a lot more features coming very soon that they said they'd be working on from the very beginning of the campaign. So a long time coming on some of this stuff. I'm so excited to show off when we have the dump truck and all that other Tier 3 stuff available. But for now, all you really need is a small excavator and the wash plant that you see behind us. And of course, it's all based off the television show. So are you a fan of the show? Do you watch it? Say, yeah, I watch. My favorite character is Todd, or I really like Parker, that kind of thing. If you don't know the show like I didn't before playing the game, then of course it doesn't matter. You don't need to know the show to play the game. The game is literally driving out to different locations and starting to mine. I will say one of the best pieces of equipment that I really am excited to see coming very soon is the drill. Now, the drill will allow us to take samples from the earth at different locations and will possibly tell us how much gold is in certain areas, so you don't have to basically play a little guessing game or hide and seek with the gold. You can actually start digging where you need to, which is especially helpful for Tier 2, so that way you can set up directly next to the gold. So right now we're driving through the old dried up river. Wow, and the trailer's really taking some bumps with it too as it bumped into a rock there. It's really nice driving in this area too. We got differential lock on our old truck. A lot of people say this is an old Chevy, so what say you, viewer? What do you think it is? And again, thank you everyone for tuning in. By the way, if you do hit that subscribe button, I will live stream this game a little bit more. If you're watching this a little later, here's the plan. I probably already gave a giveaway of a few extra copies of this game. No promises, but again, when we do live stream it, there's a possibility that the developers might give me some more keys too. So I'd love to give this game away. I believe after October 24th, 2017, the price is increasing, so make sure you grab it now before they add a lot more features. Back there, you see one great feature in the game, the small excavator. So we'll be using that as soon as we got our base set up here. And one thing I may have mentioned in the previous video too is that you should buy a working light. Guess what the best working light is in the game? The pickup truck. I didn't even think about that. Just turning the pickup lights on at nighttime was a great idea, by the way, and I haven't even released the first part yet. So any tips that you have in the game, you know, you don't just have to say, you're an idiot, why didn't you? Oh, I can't think of everything. Just be helpful, everybody, and remind everyone of different tips and tricks and stuff that you learned in the game. And definitely not driving with me is a great tip. Make sure you don't drive with me because I'm going to be whipping you around, especially if you're in the box back there. We're going to whip around, speaking of which, and we're going to go over here to where we have a water source. Now, some of you may have seen this before, but we're going to go over here because it's a lot closer to a flat area that I kind of like to work in. So we're going to, as much as we can, get this trailer flat here. We're going to deconnect it or decouple it, and we're going to go ahead and drop her down here. So our wash plant, this is our Tier 2 wash plant, takes electricity, water, and also we need to feed it soil in order for it to function. So we're going to roll up ahead a little bit here, and as you may have saw when we came into, there's also a little tent there. So we're going to go ahead and pull the e-brake here. We're going to get a few things out, and I'll show you exactly everything that you need in order to get started here. So if you're going to the store, just keep in mind you'll need to buy a few of these things in order to get started. And of course, buckets just cost a few bucks, so you may as well get as many of those as you can too. So we'll be setting up a lot of this stuff over here. As you can see, we can already hook one up over there. And so we're going to hook up all of the equipment we need. Whoa, hose, where are you going? And we'll need our fuel tank. This will power our water source and our generator, which are needed to work the wash plant. And of course the wave table as well, so we may end up using a few things here. I want to set the wave table up in the tent and do all that, but the tent is way down there, and I just like setting up over here. I like this site most, but you do need to keep the water plant or the wash plant close to sources of water. The more money you get, by the way, you can buy more of these pumps to daisy chain them together to get to wherever you're washing. Now, of course, when you're starting with the small excavator, you pretty much want to stay right next to the wash plant. So the problem is you're basically limited to the range of how far you are from your source of water if you have limited equipment. And the reason we're using limited equipment now is because you're not going to have much money in the start. There's a fat extension cord that will be used for the power connection from our generator that we have in the back here. Here's our wavetable too. It's good to keep all your equipment close together, but again, as I had mentioned, as things go on, you'll want to spread out a little bit more. You'll want to bring everything to where it needs to go and then start working in different areas. Otherwise, your wash plant is like an umbilical cord. So one of the first things you want to do with your cash is buy an extra possible generator and a possible water pump. Just make sure you buy the additional hoses for that as well. You'll need at least 2 green hoses to get started. You'll also need a water filter for your water pump. And these things we're going to carry up here. These 4 are very important to get up there with. So we'll bring that all up to the top, and I'll show you exactly where that is. Now, this is just my recommendation for Tier 2, is coming over here for a change of scenery. But you can always go back to the Arnold parcel where you begun. And also, you can go to a different one, I believe, called Pine Valley, too, which I think is best for Tier 3, but you might have a different opinion in that as well. So, yeah, feel free to start wherever you want. It's your game, it's your adventure, and of course, it's your history when it comes towards getting rich. You tell the story about how once you earned $1 million in a video game, and your grandkids will always love it. All right, we have 2 extension cords here. One is for our our wavetable here, and the other is for the wash plant here. They'll both need to connect to that generator that we've just disconnected, and we're going to get our few buckets out here as well, and we should be good to go. So we put one in the machine. These are just extras to switch around and use at the wavetable. In fact, you can fill all of these up, and I should have maybe bought another pump as well, but that's a little bit more advanced. That'll be like kind of step 2. There's always a great reason to go back in town, so if you need to go back for anything, don't worry. There's always a reason to go back. You'll always be buying new stuff. There's even a towable magnetite trailer that you can bring out here too, but I just like the wavetable because it's automated and a lot easier, at least for me. Okay, we've got everything we need here. First of all, pro tip, you can attach the filter to the end of the hose without having to carry it separately. So the fat hose is the one that will be going into the water, and so we'll carry that up there first as soon as we can get close enough to the darn thing. There we go. And we'll carry that up there. Then we'll take our fuel and our pump and a few other things up there and get started. So we should be good for beginning here. So we're going to try to hit this and get this ready before nighttime. We'll grab that excavator and get that out here too. Here you see our little water source. You see there's like a little river or something that comes over here to a nice kind of a stop in the pond. I don't know what that is exactly. Kind of like a shallow area in the river, but it's more calm than that. So again, you'll need 2 hoses, one for the wash plant, another one for the wavetable. So make sure you grab 2 green hoses and the red one too when you're at the store. And again, to see the store, go back to that first episode as well. Very important as well to make sure you're watching all these to kind of know how it plays out. There is kind of a succession. But of course, if you would like to, you can always just type money, or you can type gold to kind of get a little bit ahead and test the equipment out for yourself. I would recommend that for first-time players. Just kind of test and see how everything works, so that way you know the best way to spend your money. After all, it is your game, and you can definitely do that. Now, of course, a lot of people, oh, you're ruining the game. But, of course, it's your game. You can do whatever you want. To me, it's like going into creative mode in Minecraft. All right, we can go ahead and open up the lid there on our fuel pump, or our generator. That'll take fuel, and the water pump is going to take fuel as well, so that's why we carry that up to the top. Trying to run here so we can do as much as possible in a short amount of time, and we're going to flip it this way. The entrance for the pump is in the back, so we're going to go ahead and attach that here. We're going to take a little bit of a swim here. We're going to walk into the pond here, and we're going to drop this thing down right about here. Is a perfect spot, and there you go. You see the pump now dropped into the water. If there's a little kink in the hose, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It'll be just fine. We're going to grab our fuel here, which apparently has camouflaged itself, and we're going to fill this up. While we're waiting for that to fill, we can also hook up the hoses, so that should be done in just a second or two. We'll flip the hoses to either side here, and we'll grab that fuel pump, and we'll grab this fuel tank, bring it down to the generator. Very good. That's all filled up there. Whoa, hose, where are you going? Wanted to step over it. There we go. All right, we're going to fill up the generator too. The cool thing is you don't have to stand there to fill it up. It's all an automated process, which will save us some time. So I know I'm breaking the third wall, aren't I? But don't worry. We'll get her all done here in a second. So we're going to swing our hose down. The cool thing is wherever you walk, that's where your extension cords, that's where all your hoses and everything seem to go. So it's kind of really, I really like it. And of course, if you set up things the wrong way, like, oh, we were supposed to go around the other way to hook it up, you can always walk around. You can hold right click, and you can always reel your hose back in a little bit and reset the pathing for your hose, which is kind of cool. So we'll set this up over here on this end. There we go. Our hose is connected now, and we'll get our extension cords hooked up here. These are going to be very easy. And we'll just walk it right over to our generator, which now is fully fueled. So we'll go ahead and put our diesel tank down over here. And that, I believe, holds 20 gallons of fuel. So if you want to fuel up the truck or whatnot, if you're out here, or possibly your excavator, when you do buy your excavator, you'll need to buy it from the heavy machinery shop. I've already done that in advance and got stuff transported here. So just keep that in mind that you'll have to do some of that stuff. So just make sure you press tab like this and read the instructions under the journal or dig tube in order to know how to do that stuff. So again, if you have any questions, you can comment down below, or of course check the dig tube website in the game in order to find out how to do it. We'll set up our wave table over here as we've kind of already got it running. And one little thing I've had problems with is getting the hose connected here, but we've seemingly done it good this time. No problem there, and you see our hoses are now swinging around. One last thing we have to do to set up to get our operation going before we bring over the excavator is to hook this thing to power. So we will go ahead and swing her around here. And where's that? Oh, it's on the other side. That's right. Wavetable power is on this side here. I was looking for it on there. And there you go. So you'll be dumping all the dirt that you're getting from this machine into this table here. And that's basically the way to make money. So before we go any further, we'd better double time it over to the excavator. We could probably leave the truck here, but we'll go proceed on foot next time. I would say maybe leave it there. The only reason I'm driving is for time, but you can leave the truck there just in case you need to run back into town. If you'd like it to be daytime, you can always sleep at the camper there. And you see our Tier 3 mining site here where the Tier 3, I guess you could call it the wash plant. Is that the technical term? Yes, the wash plant. Tier 3 wash plant will go there. And any extra things that you have, like for example, if you run to the store to grab cables or you have extra pumps or anything, here's your nice storage area here. This is my favorite storage area in the game as well, so it's very nice. Let's get started on that small excavator. Nothing small about this, though there is a bigger one, but this is a big old way to get started, and it's really nice. So there's a driving and a digging mode. We're first going to raise our boom there, as you see, by pressing W, and then we're going to swing back into driving mode, disengage our parking brake, turn on the lights, and if we need to, we'll skip the nighttime too, just to make it easier to see. So once you get your equipment delivered here, again, you have to buy it from the machine park, and then you need to transport it as well. So there's a purchase fee at the time in the game. The prices could change with updates, but right now it's $28,000 plus a $1,500 transport fee. So each piece of equipment that you buy also needs to be transported to your site as well. So just keep in mind that if you buy a bunch of equipment and you have no money left, you might not be able to transport it. So make sure you got more than you need, and that's always a good thing in this game for sure. We'll go ahead and drive this way. I think we'll try to just get up this hill. It's a little steep, but we should be able to make it. At this point, you won't have a front loader. You probably won't have the cash for it. I believe the front loader is like $92,000, and the bulldozer is $54,000. So you won't be using a lot of that equipment until a little bit later at Tier 2 or right before you start Tier 3. So it does take a long time to get some of this stuff in the game. And for those of you who just kind of want to experience, and for those of you who are like me who just want to set up the site and kind of do a little bit of work, you can always hire workers too and then go off to your next site, which is a really cool thing. We can do that inside the tent, but the workers really only work at certain pieces of equipment and certain hog pumps. And so it does help to bring in the gold. You won't be able to do much without it. So as you can see, we've started with the basic amount of gold that you'll get by default in the game. And I believe once we find an ounce here, it'll give us 43 ounces perhaps. But keep in mind that will only happen for the very beginning of the game. And again, I've just restarted and just got the exact amount of money that we needed in order to show off Tier 2. Alright. So a lot of you are calling for a series as well. There's a call to arms for me to do a full series on this. And just keep in mind, the exciting part of this is setting up and kind of making a few deliveries, but I don't think anybody wants to tune in for part 17 of me, you know, digging a hole over in section 4. To me, that's just kind of like once I've got things set up and everything's running, I just want to hire a worker and go on to the next thing and set it up. That's where I enjoy it. But of course, you can have a whole different take on that, and that's completely fine. So it's almost getting close to nighttime here. In fact, the sun is already pretty much down. We're going to start next to the wash plant and start digging directly next to it. So one of the best spots we could do, or one of the best things we can do, is pretty much set ourselves up next to the wash plant. And in fact, one thing you'll probably want to do too is maybe, if you can, set up the wash plant lower than the excavator. So that way, if for example we exchange places, if the excavator was where the wash plant was and the wash plant is where I am now, then we would be able to easily scoop in there. But that's okay. That's not a problem. We can just back in a little bit. We'll start over here and swing our arm into the wash plant. So we'll have to turn everything on now that we've got it over here, but before we do, we're going to skip nighttime just so you guys can see. But if we need to, of course, if you want to work at nighttime, all you have to do is flip the lights of the truck on. But the game gets very beautiful at nighttime. Really gorgeous. Just very difficult to see if you're streaming or trying to do any recording. But a cool thing is you can always skip nighttime if you don't want to, you know, mine in night. There's nothing really difficult about it. It's just kind of hard to see. But the good thing is if you do work at night, then you do get in a little extra time before you have to pay back loans, interest, and or rental fees for areas such as this if you choose to rent it. Okay, so we're going to grab our excavator. We're going to start loading that up. Of course, we got to flip everything on first. So the first thing we can do here is we'll flip on the generator. This will activate the wash plant and also the wavetable, or at least it'll give it power. We can turn that on a little bit later. So power is connected, and the generator, or the pump up here, is gas operated. So you'll more than likely run out of fuel on this before anything else, but that's why we kept that fuel tank around as well. So maybe good idea to bring an extra gas can and fill that up if you need to as well. But it looks like everything's fully functioning for what we're looking to do at this very moment. And we got a bucket there as well. I think it only needs one bucket as well. It used to need two, but it looks like it's only one now. So good. All right, let's grab the excavator. Fire that up. We will roll into position, and we're going to start digging out from, I think, right over here, even though I went over there. I think what we want to do is try to maybe dig this way, and we'll try to keep our tracks off the hose and see if we can reach in there. So our goal here, again, is we're going to try to dig, and I'm just going to give it a little test here. We're going to unload into the, yep, oh, that's really nice. The wash plant right here, and then we'll dig over to our left over here. So as you see, it's really early morning, so even the sun's not fully up, so there's still going to be some shadows. So we'll put our bucket into the ground. This is the most exciting part in the game. And of course, a lot of people say you can close the thumb, but there's really not a reason to do that unless you're loading up a dump truck to keep everything in there. But we have no idea where the gold is, so wish me luck on our first scoop. Here we go. All right, first scoop into the bucket. Very nice. So you'll be doing this a lot. This is where you'll be spending a lot of your time, I think, once you get to Tier 2. It's kind of more like the rookie operation, where you've got some, you understand how the concept works, but you've just only begun to understand the mining process. So there you go. You'll see that the grate on the top of the wash plant will eliminate boulders from going in there, and then other types of filters and such will knock those out. So you know what? One thing I forgot to do too, now that we've loaded up the plant, I forget it's not automatic like it is on other machines. You do have to flip a switch. So there we go. It's working. Excellent. So now we got it working. It's now processing all that material. There you go. You can see now it's dropping. The bucket on the far right is how full it is. So we could have filled that up to 100% before we even turned it on too. But it's just a good idea. It's a much gooder idea, I think, to keep her running as much as you can so it can process that material. All right. So again, this is the Minotaur small excavator. The large one just has a bigger bucket capacity, and also, ooh, wow, my depth perception is a little crummy. Sorry. Yes, the large excavator does have the ability, such as this one does, to transport large equipment too. So if you want to move a mobile, let's say you want to move some parts for the large wash plant, or you want to move a large mobile gas tank, you're more than welcome to do that with the larger excavator. Let's see if we can get a different angle at that too. You can go into first person. I find it just to be easier in third person, though. We've all dumped a little bit of dirt on the ground one way or another, and then once you're over the thing, look, it's only 8% full. The bucket. The sign there, the capacity, or not capacity, but the bucket at the very bottom is only like just a few percent full. So we'll go ahead and keep working on this. Also, it's getting a little easier to see now that the sun's actually coming out. So we'll continue to dig, and we will continue to fill up that big machine there. Got to get my controls straight here with the bucket. There we go. All right. And we're good to go. So practice makes perfect. I've been playing this game for 16 hours, still a rotten noob at it. But I must say that this is one game that I just can't get enough of, and I think you guys would wholeheartedly agree as well. Just a great game. It just seems so boring. But then again, so was Minecraft, and then that got $1 billion in sales, didn't it? Literally digging a hole. All right, let's swing around. And the bucket works a little strange. I wish it would push down a little bit more into the dirt before you had to pull back. But there you go. You see the capacity on our bucket there is getting pretty close to being full. But you do want to load things in there little by little. And you will see rocks loading off. It's not us missing the target. It's the machine basically spitting out what we don't need in terms of non-valuable material, such as the large boulders. 14, 13. So it does take a little bit of time to process this, so you don't want to work too fast. There is a limit in speed in which you can operate. But it works pretty good. Very nice. I've seen some amazing screenshots of people making these incredible pits and just making them just look so awesome. Some people have made incredible mining operations in this game, and I truly am impressed by their hard work. So a very nice community to be a part of. Sun's starting to come up now. We'll be able to actually see what we're doing for once. But again, the only reason I've started here is because we're limited by our hoses and such. And this is basically recommended to start immediately after you're done with the Tier 1. And of course, you can take out a loan to get some extra cash too, which is about where my money would be if we had done the digging again. But we did that in our Tier 1, remember? All right, the bucket is about half full. So what we can do is once the bucket is full, we'll put that into the wave table. We can get a few buckets full before we do that too. So, you know, you're always welcome to kind of start small or immediately pull the bucket out of there if you're looking to get some cash. The mobile wash plant, not as great as the Tier 3 wash plant. It's not as thorough, but that's why we have the wave table here too. All right. Another cool thing is you want to be really cautious about your digging, because if you make a lot of potholes around the map, it might make it difficult for you to drive. So make sure, one, you don't fall into your own hole, and two, the nice thing is the bulldozer can really do a great job of leveling out areas and making different types of chasms if you want to dig in those or move yourself around a little bit, especially if you're working with the front loader. At this moment, the front loader is a little difficult. Some people have been complaining about my driving, but at this very moment, the front loader has some really... Whoa, what was that? What could I have possibly hit? We're far away from the wash plant. Anyway, there's always something weird in this game, but that's just like gold mining. You never know if something's going to break down. You never know if a tooth on a excavator or a track is going to break, possibly on the bulldozer, maybe an oil filter change. You can see there our oil pressure is at 0, but that's because they have not yet implemented certain things such as breakdowns for vehicles. So in the future, they do plan to have a bulldozer breakdown or whatnot. I think there might be maybe there'll be an option to just turn that completely off. But if you want to make it the most realistic experience that you've had gold mining, that could definitely be a plus for you. Let's go ahead and raise our... Oh, it looks like the boom's maxed out. I can't get it much higher. So we will go ahead and just keep on delivering there. And again, we're making some real good buckets full of everything. Scoops, I guess, in this case. Our bucket is at 81%, the small white bucket that we put under the washing plant, the wash plant there. Washing plant. Almost said washing machine, which I guess technically it is a machine that washes, thus washing machine. But if I said that, somebody would be like, oh, really, Raptor? Are you going to wash your gold with Tide? And it'd be like, hey, you. Yeah. All right, look at that. Yeah, my depth perception on where that thing is again, you should be doing this in first person, but I like to do it in third person. I like to be able to see. We can go ahead and try it once in first person. Let's do that and see what we can pick up here. Hopefully I can at least get in the hole there. Looks like we're caught on a little bit of the lip. There we go. Now we're in the pit. That looks like about a full load there. And we'll go ahead and pick our bucket up and drop her right into the wash plant. Hopefully we're right on top of it. Now watch that bucket on the right side. Yep, you see 13, 12, 30, 50. All right, perfect. We were right in there. So that's about as good as I got in first person controls on the excavator. But it looks like we're about ready. The bucket is almost full, and we're still processing material. So the one thing you want to do is get another bucket under there right away. And I will show you, for purposes of the video, what it's like to start processing everything. So we'll go ahead and take this out, and we'll get our bucket underneath there to continue processing. We keep the machine on, I suppose. If there were material in there, it can keep working, but I just don't want to flip it off and on. So what we'll do here is we'll flip on the power and the water for the wave table. This is the only machine you have to flip on separately. It's interesting. There's a valve on this machine, but there's not a valve on the wash plant. Or you don't have to turn the water on for that. It's just constantly on. So the wave table, you can see there, gets dumped, and then you'll see our gold automatically go up in the right-hand corner. This is all automatic here. So you'll see that it's automatically... Oh, and it looks like there wasn't like an animation before for the wave table being full, but now there is. Makes it a lot easier to see. Maybe I just didn't see it before, but anyway, we've got everything going here. We're making a lot of gold. We almost have our first ounce of gold. Look at that. With just... Hold on a second. We got to get 1 ounce? Oh, my God. Wow. We've already gotten our first ounce of gold just from that one bucket full. Wonderful. That's amazing. Well, this is a very good area then. Very nice. Wavetable is done processing the soil. Wow, it just finished, so that's incredible. So again, back and forth with your machine here. This is how you do it. We'll mine throughout the full course of the day here. and see how much gold we can get before the end of this next day. So again, if this is something that excites you, make sure you check it out on Steam. I think the developers did a really good job at making a really unique experience. The only downfall is I really would like to play with friends. It'd be really cool to have maybe competitive mines where, you know, you and a buddy go over to site A and somebody else goes over to site B, and you two kind of compete as to who can get to 100 ounces before a certain date, or who can get there first, that kind of thing. So something really cool in the game that you can do. Hopefully they'll have multiplayer. But again, coming to Xbox One and PS4 very soon. Really looking forward to it. We're at about, what, 35% there on that thing? All right, let's continue to dig a little bit. So for those of you who are, I think, you know what, it glitches when you bump the bucket on the side of the hole. So for those of you who are actual excavator operators or who've done it before, this will be no surprise to you. You'll know all the controls right away, I'm thinking. And I think it is controllable, the game, with a Xbox controller, or possibly maybe a joysticks and such. That'd be great for excavator operators to work some of the joystick controls with an actual joystick if you have a setup for perhaps some other game where you would use dual joysticks to do some mining or some work with the excavator. Excavator is one of the coolest pieces of equipment in the game. Really like working with it. Another thing you can do is when you get to Tier 3, or possibly even with Tier 2, if you get enough money to get that front loader, one thing you can do is dig down low enough to make space for the front loader in order to, we'll flip those lights off now, for the front loader to be able to go down and start scraping the side of, I don't know exactly what the term is, but basically to drive in straight, pick up a scoop, and then back out and come over here without having to have the excavator make a pile. So that can be a very, very beneficial thing in the game. Now, I think what we want to do is, first of all, I'm sure some of you operators are yelling at me already. From what I understand from other excavator operators is that we should turn ourselves in order to basically face this way so we don't tip over, because that's where we'll be digging from. So we want our tracks to be pointed that way. And before I was just trying to avoid the hoses, but now that we're actually facing this way, this is the quote-unquote proper way to do it. And I say that because that's pretty much the only thing that I know. So I'm trying to be as realistic within my knowledge. For those of you who know more things about mining or about construction sites or heavy equipment, you guys got this covered. Same rules will apply here. And if you don't, well, you'll learn the hard way like I've done before. All right. More soil, more pay dirt going into the wash plant. It seems like it can take about one scoop at a time, so you don't want to be too fast on that. Uh-oh. We get a little stuck here. Looks like we've bit off more than we can chew there. There we go. All right. So again, it does not take very long to fill this up, and you find about an ounce. It seems like you got an ounce within just a few minutes of working. So we may have found a hotspot. I'm not sure, you know, I'm not exactly sure how to judge a hotspot or not, but it'd be cool if there was more prospecting tools in order to find where the gold is in its higher concentration, maybe to mark spaces with flags or something like that, so you can remember to come back to it later, maybe with different equipment if you'd like to. That kind of thing would be really cool. So 41% here, we're full, and we'll keep on using the wash plant. Of course, during the alpha, this is the primary piece of equipment that I used. I love those hoops on the bottom of the bucket, too. I really want to move some equipment. The small operator the small excavator may be the best thing to use for moving some of the Tier 3 stuff into position. It's a little smaller and thus is a little bit more adapt to getting into some smaller spaces. But for the things like the trommel or the shaker, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm just excited to show you. Ooh, pick up our bucket a little bit there, buddy. There we go. Yeah, there you go. A little bit of time to master it, but it's really going well. So again, if you have any more tips for me or anybody else, please do go ahead and let us know down below in the comments section. And of course, you know, the more the merrier in terms of knowledge for me. So thanks for all that constructive criticism or tips, and of course ideas on what to do next in the game. As soon as the dump trucks are available, as soon as I can do some drilling, I can't wait to show it off with like Tier 2 stuff and see how it works and find out what the best method to go gold mining is. So it's really nice. Oh boy, I'm gonna keep doing that, by the way. I keep hitting my E key when I want to hit the R key, which is to extend the arm here like this. So I keep making that mistake. Alright, there we go. I've seen videos where people have dug a complete circle around the excavator down to the very almost bottom of the map, and then have like basically isolated the excavator out on an island of dirt, which makes me think, oh boy, that's gonna be a doozy getting out of there. There's not enough plywood to hold that thing across. You're gonna need one of those bridge layers that they have on tanks. Alright, so we've definitely made some great strides here just at the start. So once you get your Tier 2 equipment, this is really like Tier 1 is the tutorial, and Tier 2 is really where some of the fun work comes in and where you can make most of your money. Again, we're at 68% here on this second bucket, and at this moment I think about an ounce of gold is about, and of course you'll have to check the stocks and such in the game, but it seems like every ounce is about $10,000. So once you've gathered about an ounce of gold, there could be right there about $11,000 sitting in the bank for me once I go over to the blacksmith, that kind of thing. So if you keep working, again, keep in mind the small excavator is about $28,000. So you'd have to have about, you know, about 3 ounces of gold in order to buy that. So if you start thinking of things in ounces of gold, you'll have a little bit easier experience in the game in terms of when to know when to leave your mine. And of course, you can mine from the very beginning with just a shovel and a bucket if you want. Pretend like you're at the beach. But it's going to be no walk in the park, especially if you're doing this. All right, I see the bucket's almost full here. Let's go ahead and put our bucket down. And let's go ahead and take a look at the hole here that we've made. And this thing might not fill up 100%, but we'll keep it running. We'll get very close to 100% there. Let's take a look at the soil that we've removed. Wow, look at this. Ooh, wow. Ooh. You can see where rock bottom is, by the way, too. This is a glitch here, obviously, but and I hope they fix that very soon. But you can see how much soil is literally available for you to dig out all that pay dirt. And if you get stuck, by the way, you can press backspace, click on your character, and then just click reset. I might, maybe I'll have to do that. But this is a very nice pit that we've dug out for ourselves. Oh boy. All right, really digging myself a hole here, literally. All right, let's see if we can jump out of here. And we're going to get back up into that excavator. How are we doing on capacity over there? That looks like that thing's almost full. Looks like we got out very nicely. 94%. So we'll do one more bucket full. We'll call it on this second operation here, our second bucket full. And let's go ahead and lower our arm. And let's see if we can grab from this section here, from the bucket. Nice scoop full there. And back over to this side. So I wonder what the thumb is for exactly, for those of you who may know. I'm assuming, obviously it's to stop dirt from falling out, but is that to stop material from falling out because it's gold, or is that used for many different things? Let me know down below in that comment section. I think we're going to just need that one last scoop, and we should be at 100%. So let's go ahead and hop out of the excavator. And technically, I guess we'd want to stop the excavator this way, so we could leap out onto one of those tracks. There we go. We'll set the boom down. And, man, this looks cool, doesn't it? All that equipment running like that. That's awesome. All right, let's kill the excavator. And let's go ahead and kill this machine, too. Oh, boy. We're very close to it, aren't we? Really have to work within a fine level of precision here. But you can see why. Okay, wavetable still working, so is our pump. Let's go ahead and get the wavetable. I guess we could flip that on when off when we walked away from it. But if you do leave it on, I think it will damage the equipment if you're not using it. So that's another thing to keep in mind. I've seen some jets before for the wavetable that you can buy at the store. Okay, we are now at 1.404. You'll see that it's still going up. Error, I guess. We're at error. Oh, what? Apparently the thing came unplugged, but it's still working. That's interesting. The wavetable is technically unplugged now. Huh. That's weird. Wavetable has done well, okay. I guess it's done processing the soil, but it wasn't even plugged in. What the? Okay. All right, I guess I've had some trouble with this wavetable too, where I've had to come back a few times. But see, even the hose is disconnected, but it was still working. So that happens from time to time. Just sometimes you'll have to come back a little bit later and plug it in. Already at 2 ounces of gold. So you can see here in just a short amount of time, we've already gotten almost like $22,000, and that is fantastic. So I don't know, we'll turn all this stuff off just to make sure we're good to go. So once you've got all your gold, if you haven't seen already, you're going to need to go into town to go to the blacksmith. So let's go ahead and take another drive into town and see exactly what we've got for gold. That'll be a good place to find out how much gold we've got. Let's take a look first at the market. I think we can... How do we do that exactly? Oh, we have to go to the tablet. That's right. Can't walk around with the tablet. Did I cut the generator off? All right, we'll cut that off as well for conserving fuel. So one thing we can do is while we're at it, we may as well top off our fuel tanks here, and we'll run back into town and we'll grab some gas, and we can always grab some other supplies too now that we've got some extra money, or we will after doing our smelting. There we go. Our fuel tank's getting pretty close to empty. We can also top off the excavator, but keep in mind that that's a pretty big fuel tank. So if you're going to be doing that, there's a medium fuel tank that you can buy, and that's another thing that we can bring back too. I can also bring back the magnetite trailer, and we can buy some other equipment if we need. So if you happen to take out a loan, if you happen to find a lot more gold, if you're working a lot faster than I do, then that would be a perfect way for you to do it. We're going to grab the truck though, And we're going to just head back into town. I'm going to smelt this. I can't wait to see how much money we're going to get. So right now, go ahead and make a comment on how much money you think that 2.275 ounces of gold will give us in the game. Go ahead and comment right now. Yep, just go ahead and open that up. There you go. And now just tell me how much you think it is now. And then go ahead and let me know a little bit later as to whether or not you were right. Now, it looks like our fuel's going down in the tank, but look at this. It's like a bottomless fuel tank here in the truck. Oh, it's such a big tank. That's interesting because this is 20 gallons of diesel fuel in this tank. We must have given that at least 8 gallons. That should have pushed the tank up a little bit on the truck, unless the truck has like a 5,000-gallon tank. Oh, boy. All right, so make your guesses. Place your best guess on what we're going to make from our gold, and then we're going to see what our total is, and then you can let me know the difference of how much you were off. I'm going to say $22,000. I'm going to say $22,000 is what we're going to make. $22.75. So I'm going to go with the exact. I'm going to say it's going to be $1 like exactly what we have there. All right, let's see if we can get out of this place. Oh boy. All right, we're getting out of here right now. And this is, of course, the old riverbed. So what we were driving next to, that could have been an old mine. I'm thinking maybe that was an old logging camp where they used to float logs upriver. God, if this game could have more of these types of things, I know it's called Gold Rush, but if they could have different types of things that you could do, such as just like doing some logging, any way to make money. Could you imagine this game plus like farming simulators, logging, plus spin tires, forest driving? That would be the ultimate game. Like if it was just called like Alaskan, well, I wouldn't say life simulator, but like, boy, the name I'm about to come up with is really bad, like natural resource simulator. But I mean, that would be really cool if you could actually go up there and mine coal, mine gold, mine, you know, do maybe something on the oil pipeline, you know, do any sort of those things, maybe ice road trucking, you know, that would be really cool. I mean, literally, Alaskan Life Simulator would be just awesome. Alaskan Industrial Worker Simulator, which is a horrible title, but there you go. You know, actually, isn't there a television show called Heavy? It's like only in Alaska, I believe, and it shows like them plowing the train lines with the giant. Oh, those are the coolest things in the world. The giant trains that are snow plows. Now that is awesome. They literally have, like, for example, they'll mount from World War II a 100-and-something millimeter recoilless rifle on the back of trucks. They will load a shell into the back of it, and then they will fire it up into where they believe an avalanche will take place in order to loosen the snow up ahead of time, and then they'll come through and plow it with the train. That is awesome. So very, very cool. Lots of things to do in this game in terms of gold mining, but again, there's a lot of different techniques for it, so I could only see it being better if they added all the other things that aren't gold mining that involve heavy equipment. So it's not too much longer now for us to get to the blacksmith in town. He's just kind of on the other side of town. We'll have to pass through it. And here we're passing the old dam here. You can see the hydroelectric facility, which is kind of defunct now, as it's kind of not doing so hot, I think. Oh boy. And so we're through this area where apparently there's a lot of flooding. One of the signs will basically tell you, hey, don't stop. If you got to stop, don't stop. So we'll go over this way. Speaking of trains, we're by the railroad tracks now. And the game has a lot of frequent loading up in the right corner. For those of you who may think that is lag, technically you're right, but that's because the game is very slow to load new areas until you're right up on the edge, and then it'll quickly load in for you, which is a little strange. Like that, you'll see things popping in. So it does not matter how good of a computer you have. Right there is our machine park where you'll be buying all of your equipment. So keep in mind that is next to the police station, and that's where you'll be buying a lot of important things that you'll need. And to our left is the store where you'll be buying all the things that you need to do your gold mining that are not related to heavy equipment. So you'll be buying your generators there, your work lights. I really think it's cool that they worked the work light into it. That's just awesome to me. Here's the blacksmith shop. We're finally here. Let's go ahead and check in with our market. Oh, by the way, I didn't actually check what the sales price of gold was, but anyway, we could have did that at the tablet, but we'll do that at the bank. It'll tell us there. So we're going to smelt all of our gold. We're getting exactly 22.75 is the cost times time. Gold losses, looks like we're losing about 20 ounces of gold, which will give us 2.3 ounces of gold apparently. So is that correct? 2.3? Okay. So let's go ahead and smelt that, and we've got ourselves a gold brick. By the way, in a previous episode, I thought I said that the amount of gold that you have does not affect the size of the bar. That's not true. You can actually have massive. This looks like a little bar of soap. I've seen people literally looks like a suitcase full of gold. It's crazy. I've never seen gold that big. in the game. So, and of course, those people were just goofing around to see if that could actually work. So, kudos on them to show that. I think like you could put 100 ounces into a bar, like 99 ounces, and it's huge. So there we go. We have no more gold in our inventory except for into the back of the truck. We have $7,370. So get ready to do the math. We're going to pull up real quick here to the bank like we're about to rob it. Check this out. There's the only intersection in town, and there we go with the e-brake. Nice. My driving has definitely gotten better. All right, perfect. Apparently it's telling me to turn off different... Oh, Raptor didn't close the fuel tank. Don't worry, we're good. Look at that. Nice. We just peeled right in. Police station like literally a block away. All right, here we are at the wonderful bank. And I think you have to go here to sell it, too. I don't know if you can do that. So stock right now, you can see the price of gold has plummeted. You can see that kind of goes up and down. If we would have been earlier... Actually, I think the game starts here. We're only our first day into the game? Or is it day... Oh, it's day 2. So literally, if you don't get started like immediately, you can lose that. So let's see how much money we get. 2.27. We'll go ahead and sell that. And let's go ahead and see what we've made from that one. Boom, $10,000. So about, oh man, I was really optimistic. Oh, wait, did I say 20,000? I meant 2,000. Oh, well, I was way off either way. Well, I was kind of close. Kind of close, but what was that? We started at 7, 8, 9, so about 3,000, close to $3,000 from that, somewhere in between. I forgot exactly what we had at the time. So that is Tier 2 mining. And Tier 2 mining can be improved again at the store. As I had mentioned, you can grab some other equipment, including front loaders. You can use the front loader in order to, you know, load up the wash plant a lot faster if you'd like to. Actually, we'll have to go down this road back this way. So if you want to buy some heavier equipment, we'll take a look at that too. Some of you have seen the store already, and so go back to the first episode. Again, remember to hit that subscribe button just so you can see when Part 3 and all the other parts come out, and so that way we can show off the greatness of this game. Really good. I like the game a lot. So let's go ahead and kill the engine. And this is where you'll be buying all your Tier 2 stuff. And a lot of Tier 3 stuff and Tier 2 stuff can be purchased here as well. You can see all the things that are coming very soon to this game. And that's, I think, why it's on sale now. Because they're still implementing a lot of this stuff. They're just finishing up the models and the workability of the dump truck. Here's the mining machine. It's a slam dunk, this game. I like it. So there's your big excavator. Here's the small one that we were using. You can see the size difference in those. And also the bulldozer, front loader, and even a power plant that we can have out here. Big power plant, mobile fuel tank, all sorts of great stuff, and much more coming. So if this seems like the game for you, go ahead and let me know if you bought it down below in the comments section. Are you impressed? Are you not? What more would you like to see? What has to happen in order for you to make the purchase? Or what more would you like to see in the future of the game? So that is it for my time here today, folks. I hope you have a good day. Thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you for Tier 3 and more live streams. Again, remember, subscribe in order to know when we go live. Hit that like button if you want to see more. And thanks for commenting down below. Appreciate your support, folks. Thank you very much, and goodbye.